Hello, it's Simon Zucchi here. I'm the founder and CEO of CrowdProperty, and in this short video I'd like to tell you about the new development project, which is a block of 6 apartments, Hazelwood Lane, Kettering, Northampton, NN16 0AJ. Before I tell you more about the project, let me tell you quickly about CrowdProperty. So CrowdProperty is the property specialist peer-to-peer lending platform designed to facilitate loans between private individuals and professional property businesses. CrowdProperty Limited is authorised and regulated by the Financial Conduct Authority under registration number 723959. CrowdProperty is not covered by the Financial Services Compensation Scheme. There are risks with any loan you make, and your capital is at risk. CrowdProperty endeavours to protect all lenders. This is done by registering the legal first charge against the property project. This means that in the very unlikely event that a borrower defaults on the loan, CrowdProperty will be able to take ownership of the project and manage it for the lenders. So now let's talk about this particular opportunity. So it's a piece of land situated on the west side of Kettering town centre, within a few minutes walk of the commercial central business district. Kettering railway station is 5 minutes to the south, and Kettering is situated on the A14 with access to M1 and some 15 miles to the west. The property is owned by Duncan Foster, and he has instructed David Moore, who's a chartered surveyor, to work jointly on delivering the project. The opportunity comprises of a vacant site that has planning for 6 two-bedroom apartments. Now the planning reference, if you want to check, is KET/2017/0279, and it's the site outlined in red in pink on the screen. The site is owned by the borrower and there are no third-party debts. Now a loan is required to actually build the development. The project costs are going to be $420,000, and the RICS view is the site is worth £160,000 with planning permission. And the RICS view, so RICS is Royal Institute of Chartered Surveyors, will always get a valuation, what's it worth now, what's it worth once it's finished, and so the gross development value of this site is going to be £750,000. CrowdProperty will lend £250,000 for up to 15 months for the development. So now let's look in a bit more detail on this project. So the borrower is proposing to sell all the units once the construction work has been completed. The site is a former car park, having previously been occupied by 2 Victorian houses demolished some years ago. The site was already owned by the borrower and there's no debt on it. And the site totals about 1.13 acres approximately. Location is situated just next to Kettering Town Centre, and Kettering Town Centre is situated in Northamptonshire. There are shops, restaurants, offices less than 5 minutes walk away, and the site is located within a predominantly residential area. The railway station is 5 minutes to the south, and access to the UK road network is via the A14, which is 1 mile to the south as well. So the proposal is the planning consent is secured to construct a 3-storey residential development scheme providing 6 two-bedroom apartments. It will be standard construction. The planning consent is KET/2017/0279. Construction should take 48 weeks. However, the developers feel they might be able to reduce that time slightly, and the developer will sell the units on completion. In fact, speaking to the developer at the time of filming this, they're in discussions with a couple of different investors who are interested in buying the entire block because they're going to get the freehold as well at the same time. So when we look at Kettering, here's the location, and if we go in within Kettering, this is the location of the site within the town. This is a picture of the town market square. You see it's a traditional market town. And this is the actual road, Hazelwood Lane, on which the development is going to happen. And this is a picture of the site. You can actually see here where the former Victorian houses were based. You can just about see the foundations there. But this is now being used as a car park. And looking at the site plan, this is what it's going to look like. So the block is here, with a few car parking spaces here and just an access area. And if we look at the elevations, you can see it's a pretty standard traditional looking block. It's a very straightforward new build project, this. If we look inside, there are 3 floors and the apartments are kind of identical on each floor. So when you come in the door, you've got a living room, a dining room with an open plan kitchen. You have a main bedroom, you have a slightly smaller second bedroom, storage cupboard, and then a bathroom as well. So pretty standard. They're actually 659 square foot approximately. So that's pretty good size for a 2-bedroom apartment. And in total, with all the communal areas, it's 4,650 square foot. Now, the borrower is a gentleman called Duncan Foster, who's actually a very experienced contractor. So he normally does buildings for other people. He's got over 40 years experience, and some of the projects he's done over the last few years include a grade 2 listed barn conversion in West Wickham and Kettering. Now, the contract sum is what he was actually paid to do the building work. So 650,000 and 890,000. A pair of semi-detached properties in St Albans. The contract sum with him was 800,000. Conversion offices into 2-bed apartments in St Albans, again 670,000 contract sum. New detached houses, contract sum 325 and 370. New detached stone house in Kettering, contract sum 475. Barn conversion in Northampton, contract sum 145. And alteration extension to a 5-bed detached house, Tanser, Peterborough, for 170,000, and alteration extensions to a detached dwelling, Tanser, contract sum 165,000. So in other words, Duncan has been used to do the building work on a number of projects, clearly very experienced in this field. Now, he's actually teamed up with David Moore. Now, David has actually used Duncan as the builder, the contractor on many of his own projects. But for this project, Duncan and David have teamed up. So it's Duncan's project, but he's using David's expertise as a chartered surveyor and been in the property industry for 40 years to help deliver the project. So David's experience includes the large B8 and B2 units up to 80,000 square feet. Retail houses, warehouses, retail parades, small residential developments up to 50 units for housing association delivery, houses of multiple occupation bought and managed, multi-let office and small business centre management, standing investments bought and leases reworked, land assembly and planning appeals. And David has been appointed by Duncan as the lead consultant to assist in the delivery and sale of the completed project. So between them, they're a very experienced team. Now, looking at the project financials, the debt that CrowdProperty have agreed to lend is £250,000. Now, this money will be held in the solicitor's protected account and be released to the developer as the work progresses on the site. What that means is we're going to send an interim monitoring surveyor to go and look at the project every so often, and based on the work that has been done, they will release funding to the developer. Now remember, the RICS valuation of the site was 160,000. The end value of the site is 750,000. And that means that the loan to value of 250 compared to the end value of 750 is going to be just 33%. So it's a very low loan to value. Projects expected to take no longer than 15 months. Whenever we estimate the amount of time required, we find out what the developer needs and we add some extra months on the end of that. So 15 months should be absolute maximum. However, we expect it will probably be less than that. We always take a first legal charge on the site. That means if there's a problem, we can step in and take the property back. And the exit strategy is to sell all the flats initially individually. However, in recent weeks, they've been contacted by some investors who are expressing an interest in actually buying the entire site once it's finished with the freehold. So just focusing in details on the actual loan itself, the loan amount is £250,000, secured with a first charge against the site. It's going to be paying 8% interest per annum, and the interest is always paid at the end of the project when the capital is returned. The maximum length is going to be 15 months, but it may well be less. there's always a minimum period of 6 months on CrowdProperty. So if a loan is less than 6 months, you get at least 6 months worth of interest, and the loan will commence in February 2018. And capital and interest will be paid back from the sale of the completed development. This has been 100% underwritten, which means it's definitely going forward. The owner, the borrower already owns the site, they've already got the planning permission, and they plan to start in the next week or so. Now, CrowdProperty, we always believe in responsible lending and borrowing. The amount of the loan is based on the project and the experience of the borrowers. So this has been done in one single raise of 250,000. Remember, secured against the property, valuation 180, and the loan will be released in stages based on the IMS valuation. Now, the loan to value is 33%. Because the NGDV is going to be 750, and so there's plenty of headroom and security in there for the lenders. So if you're interested in supporting this project, make sure you understand the loan. For example, it will be maximum of 15 months, expected to be about 12, minimum of 6. You get paid 8% for the duration of your the time your money is in the loan. You will get paid interest at the end of the project when all the capital is paid back. So we always recommend you carry out your own due diligence. We've obviously checked it. We believe it's a great project. That's why we've given it the CrowdProperty stamp of approval, and you can now look at it on the platform. Decide how much you would like to lend. Now, you can lend as little as £500 from your personal savings, from your business, or even from your pension. However, some people lend many tens of thousands of pounds. Entirely up to you. So visit the website, come and make your pledge. We'll conduct all the necessary anti-money laundering checks. And then when we're ready, we'll ask you to send your money to the solicitor. And once the project starts, you will start earning interest on the loan. I'd like to remind you that CrowdProperty is authorised and regulated by the Financial Conduct Authority under interim permission. CrowdProperty is not covered by the Financial Services Compensation Scheme. Thank you for watching the video. I do hope you come and support this project. Thank you and goodbye.